Now for a movie rant break, One Up presents a movie rant break. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the movie rant break. We out here chilling. I got a super dope returning guest. I got the comic book drawn Lee J. Giles back in the building. Woo. Woo. Oh, okay. Okay, you're showing emotion. You're getting excited. I like it.
I was just thinking, this is the first time I've never worn a beanie under the
oh shit. You feel
under
exposed?
the headphones. I don't feel exposed, but after the couple other episodes, people were like, "What the fuck's going on with your hair?" Because I cut my own hair, and for a while, the hawk was like the faux hawk was like really long, so you'd see like a rat tail coming out of my beanie.
Oh shit.
In the other episodes, they're like, "What's going on with your hair?" So, you know,
I fucks with it.
a
faux hawk?
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I fucks with it. Today, everybody, thanks for coming back.
Yeah. Thanks for
It's
having
good
me,
to see you.
Yeah.
Like 100%. I've been really enjoying these reviews we've been doing. Today, we're doing The Dark Knight Rises. So this will conclude the trilogy review shit that we've been doing, which has been, like I said, super dope. We did the first one, I think it was last spring.
Crazy.
We did Batman Begins. And then we did The Dark Knight last month. And then I was like, fuck it. Let's just wrap up The Dark Knight Rises, get the trilogy done. Because this shit takes a minute to get these reviews. Like, I just did the Lord of the Rings trilogy with John Smith. Like, that shit takes a while. Like, to do 3 reviews on a trilogy.
I was
like,
just thinking today, too, while watching it, or the other day while watching it, it's like, when did we decide trilogies was, like, the completion of a story? Like, why not? Like, why did we decide on 3? Because either George Lucas or, like, Francis Ford Coppola decided like they did like the 3 movies, Godfather 3 or the Star Wars 3, Indiana Jones 3. So why trilogies?
that's a good question. I'm not sure. Third time's a charm? I don't know.
Maybe it's based on the 3 acts of a story where they find like that they get to a third one and they're like, this is a conclusion. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Someone has the answer out there. Please oblige. But no, like I think that's what's been cool with what Marvel's done, not as of late, but just the fact they've had like a continuing plot line, which is dope.
Yeah.
I don't personally trilogy just maybe it's the amount of times usually before people start fucking shit up. I think 3 is it. Like after 3 you start
Even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Iron Man 3, Captain America's 3, Ant-Man at the moment, I guess, is 3.
Holy Trinity, before death, life, and then after death or afterlife.
People didn't think much of Thor 4.
Yeah, but they trying to come back for the 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I don't know. That's actually a good question. I like that. But I mean, fuck it. I like trilogies though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coincidentally, I wouldn't have minded a 4th one for this.
Yeah.
We'll get to that, though, everybody. Let's get into this motherfucking shit, okay? Long time coming. Directed by Christopher Nolan. Shout out to him. He's a fucking G. Screenplay by Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan. Story by Christopher Nolan, David S. Goyer. Based on the DC Comics. Produced by Emma Thomas, Christopher Nolan, and Charles Roven. Film is starring Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Anne Hathaway, Tom Hardy, Marion Cotillard, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Morgan Freeman, plus others. Gillian or Cillian Murphy, he makes a quick cameo, and there's a bunch of good other actors and actresses. But how do you say that name? Someone needs to tell me how to say his fucking name.
I think Cillian.
Cillian?
But I could see it being Killian.
That's...
Because that's like the more Irish way.
I think there's a video where he, like, an interviewer asked him, like, how do you say your fucking name? And he says it, and maybe everybody's wrong. I'm not sure. Whatever. Shout out to him, though. He's a great actor. Cinematography, Wally Pfister. Edited by Lee Smith. Music by Hans Zimmer. Also, quick acknowledgement. Music score, again, was incredible. Hans Zimmer killed it. And originally premiered worldwide, or United States and United Kingdom, July 20th. New York City was July 16th. With a runtime of 165 minutes. Budget, allegedly between 250 and 300 million. Box office, 1.085 billion.
Did you say what year it came out?
2012. Did I not say that? My bad. Reception, IMDb gave it an 8.4. Rotten Tomatoes, 87%. And Metacritic with a 78%. Brief breakdown, just the conclusion of the Dark Knight trilogy where Batman faces off with Bane and Gotham naturally is in peril. And Batman gotta save the motherfucking day. You already know what the fuck going on.
It's crazy. It's been 12 years.
Yeah.
I remember seeing
almost,
it in the theater. Yeah. And we've already lived through another Batman iteration, Ben Affleck, like in that decade. Now we're on to the next one. Now we're on to another one.
Yeah. They're getting a little extra with it, right?
Yeah. It doesn't take much to be like, let's just throw out what we got and like start over. Like,
yeah, like originally Warner Brothers is really apprehensive to do that. And then now they're just like, fuck it, restart. They got like 2 restarts going. And now they got James Gunn rocking in that motherfucker, which is probably a good upswing they're going to have. I'm sure it'll be good. I can't say if it'll be great or not. I mean, it's just been so saturated with all sorts of reboots and confusion. Like, if you have to make statements of story plot lines to clear the air to the fans outside of the material, that's not good.
yeah, it's really crazy. I don't know if you like pay attention to like the online movie chatter, but like the constant daily James Gunn like updates of stuff like, oh, this guy he might be in Superman Legacy, like, or he's not. Like it seems like every day it's just like some kind of press release, something about all the new stuff. Like, it's crazy.
I get that. I've got some of that shit by algorithm, but you must once you feed into it, then they're just like in it, hard body. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Just tip of the iceberg. The writing in this film also is amazing, as all 3 of them are.
Yeah.
And I thought this one did a great job introducing new characters and developing them alongside the other characters with a new original story that was different and also compelling. Because they had to go in a different direction after, R.I.P. Heath Ledger. And then the tone off rip, you could clearly tell was different in the film. It's like terrorism. And it also had, I don't want to talk too much about it, but it had that mass shooting. Remember that shit in Aurora in Colorado? Right. I don't know if that was opening day or not, but like that was like attached to it, which was really bummer. Yeah. So it's ironic. It's like The Dark Knight Rises. I feel like the world's just been getting a darker place ever since.
Yeah.
But yeah, that being said, the whole film was pretty solid on that tip. Unfortunate there was a negativity attached to it.
Yeah. In a few ways. Kind of. I mean,
Heath Ledger.
The ghost of Heath Ledger kind of like throughout the movie. And I remember when this was coming out and like, coming off of like Dark Knight, and thinking, expecting a lot from it. I ultimately kind of was let down, I feel like, by that movie. And even rewatching it, I kind of feel like, to me, like, so they reestablish what they're doing with Batman Begins. They peak with Dark Knight. They come back down to what they were doing with Batman Begins, in my mind, with Dark Knight Rises. Like, it's like they can't. They didn't keep it where Dark Knight brought it to that like level, that like same elevated level, but like it didn't go back. It didn't go below Batman Begins, but. In my mind, like I like one high part of the movie is Tom Hardy. Like I really like Tom Hardy.
Absolutely,
like, that part is like
he knocked it out of the fucking park.
They could have figured out something other than bringing back the League of Shadows. Like to bring that back was almost like another way, feeling like this is just Batman Begins rehashed in some way.
I see. Okay, I would disagree because I like that they tied it all together. Yeah. Like it was the conclusion of the trilogy, right? So they had a tie-in. I don't know if that was the first go-to or not. We talked briefly on the last episode about like possibilities of the Joker being a more pivotal part in this film, or if Bane was even going to be in it. But I liked the callback and the plot twist I will say when Talia dies, like the way she dies is whack. Like she's like, like she just drops her head. It doesn't look real at all. It's kind of funny. But I like the callback in the time of the League of Shadows. I felt like it was honoring the trilogy and the source material. Or I don't know exactly the source material per se, but like the material that they've already presented. Like they wrapped up the story of this Batman and his story from beginning to end.
I actually don't know much about Bane from the comics either, but I don't know if he's like tied into the League of Shadows at all.
I don't think he is. There could be something where like one comic, there's like some tie-in, but he's a wrestler.
He's a wrestler. He comes from like a different part of the world. Like that was like Middle Eastern, wherever they were. Like,
yeah.
In the comics, he's more from like Brazil and like South America, and he runs like a weird island. Or
he's from South American island nation of Santa Prisca. Mm-hmm. That's what they're saying on the World Wide Web.
Yeah. I like it. Definitely an improvement from the Batman and Robin Bane when that like character made like an appearance. Like
that I recently watched that and it's definitely terrible. But there's things in that film where I'm like, word. Like I think Bane aesthetically looks like he did in the video games and the comics.
Yeah.
Although it's
It's weird too how for that movie too they kind of changed him where it's like he's somehow tied into Poison Ivy. Somehow his Bane
and Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. It was like
they made him to be stupid.
Yeah.
Like a grunt. Which that's why I liked in this, Tom Hardy really brought to life the character where he was completely jacked for one, like yoked out of his mind. And then his accent and voice that he used, delivering iconic ass lines. One of them, the you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. I think at that point like punches him or some shit. And then he's like, the shadows portray you because they belong to me. And I'm not giving that line justice at all. I'm sorry. I'm just reiterating. But when he says it in his voice, he's yoked up. He's whooping the fuck out of Batman. It's right before he snaps his back, which is in the comics and also in this. And I thought that was a cool tip of the cap to that. And it's just dope to see Batman get fucking murked. You're like, oh shit, he just broke him.
I like his voice too because it's like it's
high pitched.
It's high pitched. It's very like old style, like like how people at the circus were like calling out things like charlatan. There's something like
I think I know what you're getting at, but I don't know that
those guys with like the mustaches that like twirl. Like,
yeah.
There's something about him, and instead of trying to make his voice sound scary, instead of trying to make it sound like gravelly, like he went with like this crazy like
it's sick.
And it works even better that way. It's even scarier that way, or even like like a polarizing voice, kind of like
it's atypical, and it worked to his benefit, and because he's so jacked, and he's got this kind of thin, high pitched voice, and you could tell it's like an intuitive voice. Inquisitive, which is dope, and then he just whoops on everybody, so it's sick, and he kills everybody.
I remember too when it came out, there was like not a controversy, but some kind of issue with people actually understanding Tom Hardy. It was almost too synthesized through his face mask, like whatever synthesizing they were doing to his voice, the whatever voice he developed for Bane, like there was like a synthesizing through his face mask, and people couldn't understand Bane. I think when like it came out.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People didn't understand what the fuck he said. Now, like, we're so far deep into like closed. People watch shit with closed captions now. We all know like that.
I have no problem hearing it.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I have no problem. But I remember back then, and people's first like impression of the movie in the theater, like it was just like a lot of people did not understand, did not care for that voice. That voice, I feel like, wasn't overly accepted at first.
That would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Everybody's always bitching about something.
Yeah.
No one cares who I was until I put on the mask. Like that line's gas. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just ruined that voice. I tried. And then I fucked up, and then I tried again, and it wasn't as good as the first.
It's because you didn't go high enough. You didn't go like over the top enough with it.
It's a dope line though.
Yeah.
I have it on that poster, that trilogy poster, which is sick. But I actually have a Bane mask. It was dope. I used to like rock it. Like I forget, like was it Halloween or something? But it's just a dope mask. Like when this movie came out, I was like, this is dope as fuck. Bane is dope. I think originally I liked Bane better because he was so nothing we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And I've always liked Bane the character. And then to see him on screen in this way, so differently and just captivating and interesting, I was on the Bane train. It was like it was a good succession to the second film and leveled up. I mean, you could say in some regard he did because Bane clearly did the most damage and was the most evil, which is something to be said when you're comparing to the Joker.
Yeah.
But Bane broke so many necks and killed so many people. He like had a nuke. He was nuclear warfare terrorist.
I think they at some point they mentioned like the timeline of it all, and like Gotham was like he controlled Gotham for like a few months. 5 months, yeah. So,
that's crazy. Yeah, and I thought the government / military did a terrible job trying to uproot that.
That's like one of the things where like a movie's like, we're not going to go into it because this is just movie magic story, like movie story stuff. But it's like, what the hell did the government do in 5 months? Like
they sent in one shit and then they got murked.
A SWAT team, yeah.
Like
a SEAL team.
That was it, and it's just, I definitely thought there was some negligence on the like shame on them.
Yeah.
Because 5 months is a long motherfucking time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe Bane is that epic.
To have a U.S. city occupied by terrorists or controlled by terrorists, and like, yeah.
Did like also in that same kind of situation, the situation with the cops being trapped under there for 5 months. How are you getting food? If you can get like food through there and water, you should be able to get people out. And then there was a sequence where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character was passing notes through like a sewer grate. And I couldn't help but think, why did they not escape through that same grate? Like there's
why don't you come back with like a jack or something?
Like something. Like I just like there was definitely plot holes in that part.
Yeah. I feel like Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, of all the movies, it brings back to like the first movie more, where there's like contrived movie scenes, like movie scenes where it's like, okay, so we need like a scene here where, like
you talked about something like I think Batman Begins, where like there's a budget for this type of scene, like an action sequence. Let's blow shit up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like let's add inject here.
Like it might not have been something that maybe Christopher Nolan would have put in himself. Like it's just like seems like a studio injection of like, okay, we need an action scene. We need a big action scene, a big set piece. Like they use that term, like set pieces.
Yeah.
Just contrived situations, especially with the cops, like that whole part where it's just like now the cops almost times they're like very like falsely being herded certain ways.
Yeah,
like it's just like this rings untrue. Like, this is not what would really happen, especially in Gotham, where they're getting in shootouts with the Joker anyways. Like so now they're in this situation and they just kind of like, oh well, fuck, we're just. You know.
Yeah, I know. It definitely was illogical of the cops to just herd down their whole police force of the city. But it was one of those moments. It was like, okay, but then the 5 months thing, and that's where I thought in this film there was definitely like plot holes. But yeah, I think, yeah.
I really like Catwoman in it.
Yeah, she was the.
Yeah, I'm not sure I was ever so sold. Even still on the actress that plays her, but
Anne Hathaway, how dare you?
Yeah,
she a baddie. I love her.
I like in the new Batman the Zoe Kravitz. Like,
she hot too. I fuck with her.
Yeah,
Anne Hathaway. It's funny because she got an old woman name, but you gotta say it together like Anne Hathaway because like Anne, that just reminds me of like grandma name type, like older baby boomer name. No one's naming their kid Anne these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Anne Hathaway, I think she's a dope Catwoman, and they don't really allude to her being Catwoman. Mm-hmm. Like she's not around. She even have a cat? Like there was no cats.
But I feel like someone said cat burglar, but that's just a term. Like that's just like.
But I like Christopher Nolan's discreetness in these films. He doesn't try to like oversell shit generally, and that's what makes it so good because it's like, oh, this is Catwoman, but like she wasn't overly Catwoman, and Bane wasn't, this Russian or this South American wrestler. He was maybe taking some liberties, but nonetheless, like they seem like real people and they could be real characters, and that's makes these so compelling and what separates them from all superhero films. Like the Dark Knight trilogy is gas. Anybody that's fucking like everybody's dick riding that trilogy. Like in fairness, and I might have said that statement years ago, but in fairness now, like there's a reason.
Yeah.
Like the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan is great cinema. Just stand alone. The one Batman Begins, okay, like you could fucking give it a little bit shit, but like Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises are on point.
Yeah.
They're great movies.
Yeah. I feel like they really went out of their way in Dark Knight Rises to at least try to match the opening sequence where the
epic
plane,
opening.
Yeah.
What did you think about the like converting the blood from what the doctor, they were putting it in the dead body to like prove that the doctor had died?
Yeah. Well, it was. I remember the first time I saw it, each time thinking, it's like, what the hell is actually going on? What the hell is going on? The plane falls apart and just like...
There's a lot going on in that scene.
Yeah, and which is what they tried to do in Dark Knight, in the Dark Knight, which is like the people the clowns are killing each other and they're figuring out like what's going on during the heist. Like, same type of thing, I felt like. But
great scene.
Yeah, great scene.
And it just was it was more sinister. Naturally, because the villain's different, but it just lets you know how badass Bane was. Like, immediately you're like, this dude's fucking a savage.
Yeah.
Which is great, because the rest of the film, you're just captivated by this character. So, shout out to Tom Hardy, goddammit. He fucking killed it. He's a G.
Yeah.
He's great as Venom. Sony needs to figure their life out.
Yeah.
Back to Catwoman real quick. I thought she was exceptionally well at turning herself into a damsel in scenes to make herself be incognito. Like, for instance, when that sequence in like the undercity of Gotham, when they're at that bar, whatever the fuck they're at, she gave him the fingerprints, and the cops bust in. After she's done whooping ass, she fucking she starts screaming hysterically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I actually believed her. I was like, she does look...
Anne Hathaway, yeah.
Like, she killed it. And then there was, when she... What was it? Oh, even when she walked out of that bar, she like saw a cop and like started to stumble. Like she just played that element of her character just to add more depth to the range that she had, and I thought it was dope. Yeah. She's also the one who took Bane out, which is gangster. Actually,
she does not see that. Like she plays a good like damsel in distress that way, but I feel like the other way when she is like trying to kick ass, it's like it's not convincing that way. Where it's just like I almost don't believe Anne Hathaway would be that tough. Like, but
she was. I believed it. I believed it. She's kind of dope.
Yeah.
I don't think Anne Hathaway gets enough credit.
She kind of reminds that version of Catwoman 2 kind of does have like a Rachel Dawes like vibe to her, like a weird like something about Anne Hathaway does remind me of Katie Holmes in a weird way.
That's fucking rude.
But
wow,
they're both just like soft, like dark haired.
Wow, that's rude. Anne Hathaway, my girl. Shit, shout out to Anne Hathaway. She was great. Don't listen. He doesn't get it.
I liked it. I mean,
whatever, bro. So you said her fighting. What about the choreograph of the fighting?
Well, I mean, even just like her fighting, but I just mean like her overall, her toughness when she's like trying to push around Bruce and like like. Wow. It just didn't sell. It was just like
sold on. I was sold on it. I was like, she's definitely kicking ass. She has good moves. And the one thing I like about these Dark Knight films, this one not as much, but the choreograph and fighting, they usually do a good job editing. Mm-hmm. So they don't hold a fighting frame too long. Because sometimes when the fighting goes on too long, you're like, okay, I can tell this is fake.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Lee Smith for editing that shit on point, and Christopher Nolan for the QC on that. But you know, some films, the action, it's chopped up well, so it seems more believable, and it's just like usually generally quick chopping.
Oh yeah,
but
especially in these Batman movies, like Batman Begins stands out in my mind. You know, when they're in the crates, like the shipyard, and like the fight sequences on that, it's just like crazy quick. It's like.
Yeah, but it seems more official that way.
Yeah.
So the choreographing this one was a little unnatural at times, but overall it was like, okay. The Anne Hathaway shit, there wasn't any of those parts. Like a couple times when Bane's beating on people, it looks a little choreographed, but it is what it is.
Some of my like least favorite fight scenes are when the fight scene's absolutely nuts, and then somehow like a character is just walking like through the chaos, and like some like
at the end fight.
Well, this is just in fights in general, where it's just like a whole battlefield of guys swinging axes, and these two guys are able to walk towards each other without a fucking random axe. Like the part where they're fighting on the court steps. And it's
see, in that one, Bane does punch people though.
He's punching people, but like basically, him and Batman are able to like slowly like converge on each other.
Okay,
like,
counter to that. Okay, so like, I fuck with you. I like for real. I see that shit. But in this scenario, you got to think like who those two people are notorious. Who wants to like go like punch those people?
But in real life, in like in a scenario that real people are playing out like real things. Who's not going to just turn when they're behind Batman and be like, I'm going to shoot him right in the fucking head.
Oh, 100%.
And then Bane's going to make me VP of this 100% shit.
Agree. No, I'm with you. But I was just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
In this scenario, I'm like, okay.
That's the movie stuff where it's just like, they're just like, no.
Sometimes they like just overdo it. Like you can do that, but it doesn't need to be 30 seconds of it. Like make it 10. So it doesn't seem so unrealistic. But yeah. No, I'm with you on that. Did you like the look of the Batwing?
Yeah.
Or the bat, as Lucius Fox stated.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
It's yet again in the same wheelhouse of like the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Like it fit.
It looked like the Batmobile that they already had. You know, it had the same kind of weird dome / like stealth.
Yeah, it seemed like it was the same.
Yeah, same developer.
Yeah. So you were saying that Talia, you liked her, or just not the tie-in?
I mean, I did like them, but I feel like that's where I was slightly disappointed by Dark Knight Rises, where it's like, now we're going back to the League of Shadows instead of going forward with some other fucking whatever else, you know, we could do. Like, go more into the city mafia, go into, you know, I don't know how much like Batman lore you know, but like the Court of Owls, like which is like an Illuminati society. Like it's similar to the League of Shadows, slightly different, but like
in this case, I feel like that would have been a disservice because I feel it's too similar.
Yeah,
the Court of Owls would be but yeah.
Like in a lot of years, they say I think they touch on the timeline too of what the time is between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, and it's like a couple years.
I think it's 4. We talked about that.
It's like no other villain like that. That's another thing where it's like it seems like this is where movie companies like have no balls. Where it's like you can't just like they're too afraid to just like throw in another villain and be like, yeah, this guy's out here too. Like now there's a Riddler. Like a Riddler came up.
Well, like Leo DiCaprio apparently was almost cast as the Riddler.
Well, I've seen chatter of that. There's like some weird Robin Williams Riddler like stuff out there. He talked at one time about either he was going to be a Riddler for Joel Schumacher or a Riddler for Christopher Nolan, which is like
Robin Williams would have been cool.
Yeah,
there's a lot of untapped villains and all heroes, superhero shit.
You know what's strange? Like, so they get the Michael Keaton ones going, and then the Michael Keaton ones kind of tie into then. There's people that believe like the Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney are all separate universes, and that's not like the same continuation, just like a recasting. So they did the last one, Batman and Robin. Joel Schumacher starts to develop Batman 5. It's going to be about Scarecrow. It's weird that then Batman Begins ends up being about Scarecrow.
Yeah, I
Isn't
did
strange?
read that. Yeah.
It's like they just like can't move from that idea. So when like Christopher Nolan comes to it, they're like, okay, we're gonna give you Scarecrow. Scarecrow's like, it's like, why? That seems strange.
Which it worked out in this case. That Christopher Nolan like killing it.
Oddly too, Sam Raimi, like they make the Sam Raimi movie. His next one was going to be Vulture. I guess Vulture wasn't the next one because they made the Amazing Spider-Man movies. But
Nonetheless, still there's so many Spider-Man villains you could use, and like you're gonna use the Vulture.
Yeah.
Like the fact that like Carnage wasn't tapped into and like Venom properly is like crazy, but they're trying now, and
it would be a good fit for the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. That's like a Carnage especially.
yeah, we'll see what they do with all that shit.
Yeah.
So Talia, the plot twist, you didn't fuck with it. That's your consensus?
It felt more I didn't see it coming, but maybe I felt it coming, felt something coming. Like, it's just like, I don't know what's coming, but like, there's going to be a floor dropping out here, which they tried a few times. They tried with her, and then the fact that like Bane like saved her, whatever the whole situation in like the prison.
Yeah, you didn't fuck with it?
I thought it was cool.
Good fucking hater.
But
she's a little slut though.
Yeah.
Like she totally fucked to be a terrorist. Like she's like, I just want this nuclear bomb. I will fuck whoever I need to blow this city up. Like this bitch is evil and sadistic and a slut.
I also think it shows like Batman is like super trusting in some ways. Like he's Batman, he's super skeptical, whatever, but like he's also super trusting because he just met Talia. Like, and he's
Dude, Catwoman fucks him up like a couple times. Like Batman can't get a good read on pussy. Like pussy just throws him off. Like he just can't. Which it's fine.
Yeah.
It's his kryptonite. It's pussy. Like he just can't. They fuck him up. Speaking of Anne Hathaway, she also did most of her own stunts. So shout out to her. Did we like where the Batwing takes the nuke out over the bay? Because I felt he didn't reach 7 miles to get out of blast radius, the way the time was being shown. And in this instance, it's like, just add more time to the clock. Just because it looks like he was maybe 2 miles out instead of a 7 mile blast radius with a 7 megaton nuke, which I looked up is like accurate, I think, ish for the blast radius. But I don't think he was out 7 miles. And like, even it just.
Yeah. That's another part where it's just like, this is a dumb, contrived movie plot right here, where it's just like, I don't even think I would expect Batman to not even be in that position where it's like, okay, now I got to pilot the ship and like I have to do it because the autopilot's out. Like it's just like I would expect Batman to think of a whole other plan completely, But I guess it was purposely to fake his own death. Like he was like, I'm just gonna do this to fake my own death. Like, but to play it out that way,
to leave with the pussy.
Why it shows how cruel he is, kind of like, it's like, why make Alfred go through that? Like you couldn't tell him
he wanted to
put him in on it.
Like he just wanted to make sure he got away with his pussy. Like that's just point blank the reason. I mean,
he wanted Alfred to feel bad like about him possibly being dead for months, only to then meet him at that cafe and be like, "I'm not dead," but all those months of grieving.
It was poetic.
Nothing. Yeah,
it was poetic. But yeah, like what a dick. Like he's a dick for all of that shit. Like for months they thought he was dead. He couldn't send a fucking email. What a fucking
Well, he couldn't even just be like, I'm gonna fly. I'm not really gonna die here, but I'm gonna fake my death. I'll be out there. Like, just weird.
Fucking dick. Fucking dick, dude. Batman needs to stop being a fucking dick. But he's just trying to get laid.
Yeah.
That's what happened. He's trying to get laid. But he did like save a city.
The Christian Bale Batman is more kind of like aloof. Not necessarily like like a detective. He's not really doing things like Robert Pattinson was doing, which was like bugging people and like he's just kind of like the Christian Bale Batman is just like he's so slow and like he's processing more than just like he's like reactive kind of, I guess. But
Loof is honest, fair, straightforward.
yeah, like he's very surface level. Like where it's just like he's having thoughts and he's just like, oh yeah. And when he's talking to Alfred about the stuff with Rachel, like there's no like deeper, like below the surface, like thinking going on with Batman. He's just like very, just like, oh
Well, I can tell you what loof is in the Urban Dictionary.
no, what? Is
It's
it different?
when the sex partner will shit inside of her vagina during sexual intercourse. Loofing is usually done when the woman is lying on her back.
It is that loofing or
Loof.
a loofing? Oh, okay.
And I think like boofing is when you like, if I'm not mistaken, take you put shit up your ass, like boof, like people like boof drugs. If I'm not mistaken. So it's like kind of funny that loof is like
I just saw
pussy and
a weed strain called Super Boof, and I knew Boof was like
that
something.
shit probably slap.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. Maybe you like the super loof. Shit. Just out here trying to educate people.
Yeah.
Let them know the boofing and loofing out here and how to get it done. You're welcome, America.
And how that applies to Christopher Nolan and Dark Knight Rises.
And Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I like what you said last time when we were talking about the nuclear fallout situation where, say, fast forward and Robin takes the mantle of some sort and becomes Robin and doing a spin-off thing. Obviously, you don't want to taint the trilogy, but say they did and it was a success and they used mutated villains. I thought that was a cool thing I wanted to bring up because that would be cool, but I get why they didn't. But
And like now that like I recently rewatched it too, they're ending it. They're ending the movie, and they're like set up all this new stuff. Like, oh, he's gonna be the new Batman, or he's gonna be something. And like the Hans Zimmer music, like it's all like it's like we're about to like start. It feels like it's like this is the start of something new.
New trilogy.
Yeah.
New trilogy.
Yeah.
Because you approve the ending where Robin finds the Batcave.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like,
I thought
oh,
that
shit.
was like that might have been like when I saw it then, and kind of even like revisiting it. It's like that's like one of my favorite parts in like the movie.
This is a dope part.
Yeah. And like he comes from foster care. He's got this access to an orphanage, so he's gonna pull Robins from the orphanage or a new kind of version of the Robin where it's all these orphan kids at an orphanage somewhere are his Robins. Like
He's going to make an army.
Could have
He's
been
going to make
cool.
an army of orphans.
I really like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that role too. Like that would have been something cool.
Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah.
He holds it down. I like him.
He's probably too old to do it now, or maybe not. Maybe he's still
Could be a
kinda-
distinguished Robin.
Yeah, he's been doing it for like 10 years, 15 years.
Shit. I know I did an 8-year fast forward, and this one from The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, 8-year fast forward.
He could be a Nightwing, a little older.
Yeah, I forget the lore. I'm not going to try to fuck people up with this, but I liked how in this film the villains were willing to die for the cause.
Yeah.
Like Talia was gonna nuke. They're all nuking themselves. Like that's whoa. They're down. They're down for the cause.
Yeah,
like, for sure.
I like their like militaristic like tone that they had. Like Bane especially was like a general, leading them like a general. Like,
yeah. It was a good spin from the last one.
yeah.
It would have been really interesting to see Bane and Joker in the same film, and what that would have done to the film.
Yeah.
I know we can't, but it would have been gnarly to be like, whoa, he's up in here chilling. Yeah. I feel like the Joker would have not fucked with Bane because Joker's a gangster.
Yeah.
Right? Bane is military-esque. So the Joker's territorial. He's like, this is my city. Get the fuck out. So I feel like I could see him and Batman working together, like taking Bane down. Not to a full degree, but the Joker will definitely wound Bane and help Batman, get the KB.
I feel like the Joker would have, authoritative defiance disorder where he'd want to work with Bane to get Batman, but he'd also want to like fuck him over. Like or even in Batman 2, like he'd want to work with him, but like you'd also want to like kill him or fuck him over.
Yeah, which would be cool at like the end after Bane's out of the way, like him and the Joker kind of like duke it out for a smidge.
Yeah.
I think the difference between like the Dark Knight's greatness and the Dark Knight Rises greatness, because they're both great, is the tone and the new direction. It makes the Dark Knight slightly more rewatchable.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's been one that I've gone back to more than any one of them out of the three, it's probably Dark Knight.
Yeah, I think that's across the board.
Yeah.
Like, it's not overly dark. The Dark Knight Rises is dark as fuck, which is cool, but it's not the rewatchability that say like Infinity War to Endgame is. Like Infinity War is the better watch, like to just put it in rather than like Endgame. It's just like a lot going on.
Yeah. I sometimes rewatch the first Avengers movie. Like
that shit's hella light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
it's interesting to see like where it was then, and it's like this was like the high point at that time. Now like look where the fuck we are now. Like it's crazy.
That's still like a really good point though. It's
Yeah.
in a nice place, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, is there any other things you want to add?
About Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Gordon was really good in this.
Geralt,
and Lucius Fox. Sometimes in these movies too, like they do such like crazy casting with like the like police force. Like they had Matthew Modine as like kind of like a corrupt cop, but then he wasn't. And then he decided that he was good after all. Like at the end, he sacrifices himself.
Oh yeah.
They always have like 3 or 4 cops that are like these like just like strange actors. They did in Dark Knight also, where it's just interesting casting choices for like side officers.
Yeah, that guy I don't like.
Yeah, Matthew Modine though, I don't like him either.
That's why it's like a good cast, because he invokes this resentment. Because he's supposed to be that cop that you just resent because you're like, you coward.
Yeah,
he plays a good coward, but then he is not, and then he dies, and he's like, he probably should have stayed inside. Like he got murked. So like, fuck. Yeah. Like I thought this was a great end of a trilogy, and honestly, arguably the best trilogy. Like I would make that statement.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Like obviously, the Lord of the Rings people are out here like getting pissed the fuck off. No fucking way. But I'm sorry, I will pick the Dark Knight trilogy over Lord of the Rings trilogy every single day of the week.
A close trilogy for me would be like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and that kind of like
that's offensive. Not even fucking close. Like you need to like. That's unacceptable that you have that scope on this show. Like that, you got to be better than that. Like, come on, come on.
It's different. It's different.
Oh my fuck! That's your follow up. You should be ashamed.
Well, I mean, as far as superhero trilogies, I mean, what other superhero trilogies are really out there that like?
I mean, just like trilogies in general. Like, I'm trying to think. Like,
well, there's
like even Jurassic Park, for instance. Like, the first 2 I really like. Third one's like okay. Overall, I would say the Dark Knight trilogy is better. But like, okay, Jurassic Park's a good trilogy.
Yeah.
But I still would probably. I don't know. Maybe Jurassic Park's better.
Yeah.
They're like both up there. But like to be like the Spider-Man trilogy with Sam Raimi is in that running, absolutely fucking not.
The third one is terrible. Then the first one suffers from, some of the goblin stuff. Like didn't age well, doesn't look good now looking back on it, but like
They did a good job revamping him.
yeah. Yeah.
He looked correct.
Yeah. That's another like the ending of this. I don't know if I've said it before, like No Way Home. Like No Way Home needed like another thing where it was just like, and here's a 4th Spider-Man that you didn't know about. And you could have gone like real meta with it, and you could have like it could have been a Spider-Man movie that didn't get made. Like there was a James Cameron Spider-Man movie where he had Leonardo DiCaprio cast as Peter Parker. And it just like I don't know what happened to it, but it just like went away. But they had
Just add like a left field.
Yeah, as like a, they just lack that ball, those balls sometimes to like commit.
They need
to
bigger
something
balls.
long. Yeah,
Fair.
yeah. But
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a solid trilogy. There's some good ones out there. Jurassic Park being one of them, but definitely top 5.
yeah, hell yeah. You like the Mummy trilogy?
Shut the fuck up. Like, we're done. You're fucking done, dude.
It's like
It's still Mummy. The fuck out of here.
Mummy
huh?
1 and Mummy 2. I don't think are so bad. I won't.
Oh,
I won't
my
watch a
word.
movie until it becomes like a trilogy, and it's like, okay, now I can like get invested. I might like check this out.
It's
But
coming from the same guy that would watch spoilers before he watches the show.
yeah, I stand.
You're
Yeah,
fucked
yeah.
up for that. I didn't forget.
We
didn't forget.
I do. I read a lot, and I read a lot of spoilers before I read the actual source. So
That's good.
yeah,
What would you hit for a score of this film? And just to help you out, IMDb gave it an 8.4, Rotten Tomatoes 87%, Metacritic 78%, and your Batman Begins rating was a 7.
was my Dark Knight a 9?
9.
I'm gonna say 8 for Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
It's not quite as good as Dark Knight, but it doesn't necessarily. Maybe it's not quite on par as Batman Begins, but it goes down that way. Like it's not above Dark Knight for sure, which is too bad because, like I said, I like Tom Hardy in it. But
Who would win in a showdown, Bane or Joker?
I mean Bane probably.
Uh,
Joker's got no fighting skills.
That's not true. He got some moves. What villain would you like to see most on screen next?
In the Batman universe,
Yep.
damn, I don't know. I honestly didn't care for Paul Dano's Riddler, but
I didn't care. I didn't ask what you didn't care for.
Yeah.
What do you want to see on screen? Like, the
A
people
good-
want to know.
a good representation of Riddler, maybe. I mean,
Okay. You like Jim Carrey wasn't good enough for now?
you know, out of that
See,
and the Paul
you were
Dano,
complaining. Oh no, I'm cutting you off because you were complaining that they always go with the same villains, and then they've given us Riddler twice.
yeah,
So I'm saying you got no other suggestion of what villain you'd rather see on screen next.
you know, it's a tough.
You're a comic book guy. You draw comics. You don't got an answer. I'm so disappointed.
You know, be interesting is you know that's been on screen before is Deathstroke, but I don't know if Deathstroke's really been in a movie like full on. Like he was in the Zack Snyder stuff a little bit,
That doesn't count.
yeah, and I think it was a post credit thing that they like never.
Yeah,
like,
Deathstroke would be cool.
yeah,
He's dope.
but I don't know. My mind's racking on villains,
That's crazy.
but.
Unbelievable. Fun facts, real quick. You want to know a fun fact?
Yeah. About Dark Knight?
Yep. Anne Hathaway thought she was going to play Harley Quinn, until midway conversation allegedly with Christopher Nolan. It was like, oh, you're looking for Catwoman.
Weird. Wonder if she had like a character, like she had that character worked out in her mind to like kind of show him like this is what my Harley Quinn would be like, you know, like freaking out.
Say again.
Like if she had worked out, like so if she thought she was gonna like going into the thing, she thought she was gonna be Harley Quinn. Like if she had already worked it out, like
She like dressed up for it, I guess. And she like went, and then he was like, yeah, allegedly. Marion Cotillard, Talia. This is funny. Listen to this. Wishes everyone would get over her death scene, which I think's hilarious.
she also played Leonardo DiCaprio's wife in Inception.
Yeah.
The same lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't play a very good liked character in that movie either. 'Cause she like there's a part where like
Yeah, she betrays.
yeah the fucked up part scene where she's like betraying him.
Yeah, she has that vibe. This is like fuck this bitch. The plane in the beginning, opening scene, was a real plane that was dropped from the sky.
Yeah,
That's official.
that's awesome. That's what's cool about Christopher Nolan. It's like more. It's always like they try to do it practical first. I mean, not too much of that really seems CGI. Probably the stuff with the bat plane, but other than that,
Yeah, I guess they hung the bat wing or whatever from wires. I had to like in post edit them out. Okay. What would you give the score for the trilogy overall?
Probably a 9.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd say 10, but because if I were to watch them back to back, I'd be like, this was way too long. Like the whole trilogy could probably be cut like an hour and a half out, and I would like not miss it.
There's only a couple things in Batman Begins that's like that.
That you could lose, and it would.
Yeah, there's a little bit like the rooftops, then like zoom on the roof. It's just like that.
Yeah,
extra.
the whole
Extra. So
that's another part where it's like that's not something I feel like Christopher Nolan wrote, wanted in there. That's like studio feedback where they're like, we got to have like a guy in there being like cutting jokes, like
I
some
think
type of shit.
Cutting jokes.
Yeah, like breaking up or injecting what they perceive as like the humor of like a big box action movie where it's just like there's a laugh every kind of like.
Yeah, you gotta have like a couple.
Yeah.
That's gotten really worse.
Yeah, it has gotten worse
Because it's worked so well with, say, Marvel with their comedy relief. So now everyone's like, oh, let's just make these fucking jokes.
It's like a super played out trope that like.
Yeah, constantly. It's annoying. It was cool, but it's so played out now. It's like, chill. Insert joke here. Like, fucking get over it. Fuck. Okay, so to wrap this up, are you good?
Yeah.
Plug. Comic. Do you have a release date for the comic?
I don't. So we're working on a comic. It's called The Experiments. I was actually going to ask you about this after we like wrapped. If you wanted to like record
we can.
some of this. But this can be totally part of it. So it doesn't have a release date. I'm slowly pitching. I'm chipping away at it. But right now we're doing a thing called Freaks of the Week or Freak of the Week, where we're putting out the concept art that I've made. And back in like the 80s, DC or Marvel kind of does it too, where it's like they put out an annual which has like a story in it, but then in the back they have like secret files, which is like has a picture of a character, has their backstory, has their like height, stuff like that. So like, while I work on the first issue, we're putting that out to kind of like build hype for stuff. So so you're going to be the next Freak of the Week. So I thought while I do this, we'll record this, and I'll put this like you could chop this for me, and I'll drop it with the art I have.
We'll figure something out. Like I gotta see what like we can talk about.
I'll show you.
So it's concept art. It's not like the finished like how it looks in the comics.
No, this is how it's going to look in the comic. But
okay.
So I've showed you that.
Overflow.
We figured out the name
shit.
Overflow.
Oh, I fucks with that.
He sent me like 10 names. I was like, I don't like any of them, but Overflow I do like. He Overflow was his first one. So there's that. This is your secret file page.
Oh shit, I fucks with that.
So you're a water manipulator, and you're gonna make goons out of the water. I made the goons anonymous, and then the other one's John Smith.
Oh shit!
So I'm gonna make your guests the guys you make like the goons sometimes.
Word. that second one I like that. The page is gas.
Yeah, that's the secret file page. So
that's just fire.
Yeah.
That's just gas.
So I'm doing these. I already told the kid, I was like, we got to use these secret file pages in the story too. So like the guy who makes all the experiments, it's like part of his secret files. Like, so we'll put out an issue that's just that sometime.
Oh,
like
word.
All these pages. He wrote up, I don't know if you probably can't read it, but he wrote a whole story up for you.
Oh shit.
So your code name's Overflow, but your name is Jordan Gray.
Okay.
This is your bio. Besides all the other stuff, your bio is Jordan was kidnapped as a child. His parents did everything they could to find him, but the detectives on the case found no leads, and multiple search parties failed to uncover anything useful. Jordan spent years being experimented on until he woke up at a local hospital surrounded by his family. Things seemed normal until Jordan discovered his ability to control water. At first, it was fun, a parlor trick here and there to impress his father and his uncle Robbie. And it stopped being fun when Jordan woke up in the middle of the night floating in his bedroom. His father and his uncle were dead, drowned in their sleep. Jordan couldn't find a way out until some of the water surrounding him took the shapes of his father and his uncle and pulled him aside. I think I lost myself on it, but
No, you good.
Jordan went through life as an outcast until Ladybird recruited him into a member of the Gate Crashers. So you're a part of a team called the Gate Crashers.
The Gate Crashers.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Turn up, tune in. I like that's
so I draw it. A guy named Corey. He writes it. A lot of our early stuff, I was just sending him concept art, and so I sent him the concept art of you first, and then I was like, he's a water guy. Like after we talked, I was like, he's a water manipulator. So he came up with all that. Like
I was the first motherfucker for the whole concept.
Well, I come up with the art, and then I asked you well, at first I asked you what you wanted your power to be, and then I came up with the art, and then I pass it to him, and he works it. He's working it into our outline.
That's
so
tight.
We're gonna outline the whole thing. I'm gonna draw the whole thing. It might be 30 issues all said and done. So it's like X-Men, but X-Men, when I was a kid watching X-Men the cartoon, it wasn't played out because those ideas and concepts were new to me because I was 10 years old. But now X-Men, the idea, the X-Men, it's about bigotry, it's about race, kind of it plays those themes. But now it's kind of played out, or that idea of activism,
that particular adversity.
Yeah, that shit. Now that shit is played out kind of now. That's so we're trying to make a modern kind of X-Men type book. It's gonna be cool, I think.
The gatekeepers better be fucking swagging on them.
Well, the girl who got you in the team, Ladybird, she's got 6 arms, and
shit.
She carries 3 ARs.
She better be giving me hand jobs and shit with 6 arms, dead ass.
Yeah,
I'll fucking overflow all over her.
She'll be all over you with 6 arms, man. She'll be tweaking your nips, fucking
tweaking
your nips, the balls,
dude. Shout out to Ladybird right now. God damn, can't wait to meet this bitch.
I didn't base her on anyone. She's just
cool.
She was an original creation.
I'm glad. Yeah, so we can have fun with Ladybird.
Yeah.
No, that's fucking cool. And I want people that are listening right now, if you like comics, I don't know comics per se. I feel what you're doing right now, comic book readers would fuck with. And
that's what we hope.
Oh, I don't know if that was implied, but it sounded like I should say that.
Yeah. Hey.
If you like comics, he's making a comic book. I think people would like that naturally. But no, it's cool. I feel like people are always open because comics, you can read a comic real quick. So it's something I think people can consume and they can fuck with it and just have fun with it. And it can be something different. It doesn't have to be this mainstream shit all the time. Mm-hmm. It can just be a fun story you can just tap into and be it's cool. It just, And
I've made comics before and people just so people pay me just commission. They pay me. I've worked on comics. I've had some comics published and I was deep into an issue 2 of a book. And I was then I was just questioning. I was what the fuck is this about? It was kind of fairy tales. Did you ever see Grimm? I guess where it was fairy tales are coming to life type deal.
When you say fairy tales, what do you mean by that?
Goldilocks is a real girl.
I fuck with that though.
Yeah, at that time it was a very played out idea. There was Grimm, then there was another show. I honestly can't fucking think of the name. It was on ABC. Its thing was an apple. It had fairy tales. It was a very played out idea. And ours was a bad version of it. So I was just even though you're paying me to do this, I was I actually got to step away from this because I don't want to spend 3 more months doing the issues. I just don't want to do that.
Just because it's played out?
Yeah, it was kind of because I felt the idea wasn't bad. It's okay to do an idea that's other people are doing, but if our execution is terrible, then we're gonna be a bad version. Why
I fuck with that.
Yeah, so it got me. I stopped doing comics for a long time, but working with Corey, he had already developed this idea for the book. he's a big horror fan. He was originally trying to have it be like a horror superhero comic. That's why each guy's origin is like slightly tragic. It's like because it's very horror. It's based in horror.
I kind of want to know what the fuck going on now. Like, shit. Like,
well, there's also like a kind of like a guy who turned into a lizard and a dinosaur, and he eats his kids.
That's fucking dope.
And he repeats he like his the only things the lizard says are his like versions of his dead kids' names. So
That's kind of
when I
dope.
came onto it, there was like a lot of horror shit, and I kind of wanted to like get away from horror, more into like the superhero shit. So like the more influence I put in, I'm taking us so like away from horror, but he still like puts in that stuff. But it's cool. It's cool working with Corey because he sends me the first issue. It's a 75-page written script for 50 pages of comic, and I told him, I was like, that's a long first issue, man. I was like, you want people to get into it and get out and be like, that was cool, I'll read the next one.
Yeah.
Instead of being lost in like 50 pages and like
keep like brief at first.
so
especially.
I rewrote his whole script. I like took it apart. I was like, I took your script and I changed it into 5 scripts for 5
Issues.
Yeah, and usually people, I'm sure you work with people who create ideas, and like people guard their ideas, and they don't want to hear that their idea needs to be reworked, critiqued.
Ever.
No, never.
Some
and
people,
like
anyways.
he handled it good, and then he came back to me and was like, it's been a good working relationship, and I'm actually pretty excited to. I'm looking forward to the future where it's like I got 30 issues of this shit down. And like it's gonna be cool.
No, it'd definitely be cool. I look forward to it, and you'll come back on when the first issue drops. Like we got plenty.
I think it's going to be digital for a while, but we're definitely going to try to get out the paper ones because that's where.
But the digital could work out for it. Just trying to get people to consume it, and then you can
make a buck off it.
The issues and shit. Like that'll be cool. I look forward to seeing what happens with it.
Yeah,
I think it's cool that you made a character out of me, my goons.
I was just telling him today. I was like, what I'm going to try to do with the characters is like, if I base them off someone, what'll be special about the comic is that I capture your, like in your case, your mannerisms, like how you like how your hands are, like how you are, like it's like that's what's going to make it cool. When I get that shit in there, it's like another level of like detail, story, personality, like all that shit.
It's
so
like you have a source material of like building the character.
Yeah,
it makes it almost easier.
Yeah,
on some level.
For me, yeah. It conceptualizes the world like more thoroughly because it's like it's almost like I thought about that of you, and it's like no, it's just how
like
you
a picture
are.
of me, but like you could use it for a certain scene that's like what you think embodies what the character's saying.
It's a version of you I'll own the copyright of.
Damn.
Essentially.
Damn. It's all right. I'll
own your likeness in animation and print form.
I mean, honestly, like we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, I wish nothing but the success for you and Corey.
Yeah, Corey. Yeah. He's a rapper. He didn't really like stay with it. He tried. He's a insane writer. Like
so you just pivoting.
Yeah, he's just kind of like still writing, still doing his thing.
You got to pivot.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he cared so much for the live performing aspect of it. It's like just want to get his words like out there.
Yeah, just write.
Yeah,
just write it up.
Yeah.
Well, shit, that's dope.
Yeah,
all
man.
right.
Yeah, man.
Overflow.
Yeah, you're the freak of the week next week.
Oh shit. I'll put it up.
Yeah.
Let's just word. Okay, so I'll have your IG in the description. Is there any other place people at the moment?
No, my IG links to like my link tree type page.
I can put the link tree in there too.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah. My solo.
Yeah. Send that over. I'll put it in the description so people can like at least navigate to your shit.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so Lee's going to be hitting it. The Dark Knight Rises with an 8.
Yeah.
Your host hitting it with a 9.3. Let's fucking go. I give the trilogy a 9.5. Arguably one of the best trilogies of all time, but I want to hit it with 9.3. Lee's hitting it with an 8. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, man, of course.
Fucking dope.
Pleasure every time.
Yeah, hard body. It's dope. And yeah,
what are we going to do now?
We'll talk about it. Because there's a couple options. We have a couple shit brewing.
All right.
But yeah, thank you everybody for listening to the show, this episode. And I hope you enjoyed it. We're getting a little litty over here, getting a little foolish. Apologies. But I hope you enjoyed it. I love all y'all. I'll check you next episode. Deuces.